I watched your recent podcast with Ranveer, and the questions arose were, who exactly were the Nazis? What made them kill so many Jews and gypsies? Who were the gypsies? What were concentration camps like? That's a whole lot of questions in one. Let me try and simplify things and give you a brief overview. Who were the Nazis? The Nazis were the National Socialist Party of Germany. So Germany lost World War One. They fought this war in an alliance with the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the Habsburg dynasty, and the Ottoman Empire. Right, the entire business of World War One started with the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in Sarajevo in June, I think 1914. Was it June or July? June 1914. Right, and the Austro-Hungarian Empire blamed Serbia for this thing, and they declared war on Serbia after first consulting Germany. Germany said, "Go ahead, go fight them." And then Germany, after Serbia, after the Austro-Hungarians declared war on Serbia, the Germans got involved. They declared war on France. They invaded France, and the Russians got involved because they were on the side of, they were in an alliance, so to say, with Serbia. The moment the Germans invaded Belgium and then France, the British got involved. So the whole of Europe suddenly went into this big conflict. The Ottomans sided with the Germans. The Italians remained neutral for some time, and then they fought against the Austro-Hungarians in 892 battles on the Isonzo River. Well, not really 892, maybe more than 10 battles. It was a complete stalemate, and so on. So eventually the Germans lost. The Austro-Hungarian Empire was dismantled thoroughly, completely. The Ottoman Empire was dismantled completely, thoroughly. Germany lost much of its, not much of its territory, maybe 10 or 20% of its territory. Poland was recreated. Germany was humiliated in the Treaty of Versailles. They were made to sign this treaty in which they had to explicitly state that the entire war was our fault. And they were made to pay enormous reparations, huge reparations to the countries they fought against. So this ended in 1918, 1919, thereabouts. The 1920s was a very bad period for Germany. They were humiliated, they were beaten, they were paying enormous reparations to other countries. Their economy had completely collapsed. There was hyperinflation. Then the 1929 stock market crash of Wall Street crash happened, which further affected the German economy, and so on. So the German people were humiliated. Their pride was destroyed, and that gave rise to nationalism in Germany. Also in Italy, because Italy also felt that it gained nothing out of all of its efforts in World War One. So in Italy, you had the rise of fascism, Benito Mussolini. In Germany, there was this rise of nationalism under the National Socialist Party called the Nazis, the Nazi Party. It's an abbreviation, and their leader was Adolf Hitler, who appealed to German pride. He promised that he would bring German pride back. He would restore German pride, restore German glory, and make Germany great again. That sort of thing, right? So so he came to power in the 1930s. It was the end of the Weimar Republic, and very quickly he became the paramount ruler of Germany, the dictator of Germany, the Führer. Yeah, and so that's what happened. Now, when things go wrong, you need to find someone to blame, right? So the Nazis focused all their hatred and singled out the Jews firstly as the enemy of the nation, as the enemies of the nation. And there were these pogroms against the Jews. There was Kristallnacht and a whole lot of stuff that happened. So the Jews were demonized. They were portrayed as the enemy within. And again, lots of other people were demonized: Seventh-day Adventists and the homosexuals and people with disabilities and the Romani people, the gypsies, who were not white. So the Germans, what they did was they stole an ethnicity, the Aryan ethnicity. They said that the German, the white people are the Aryans. They stole the ethnicity of the Indo-Iranian people. If any ethnic group can be called Aryan today, it is the Indians and the Iranians and no one else in the world. The so-called Aryan race is not a white race. It's a brown race. It's the brown people. It's the Indians and the Iranians who are Aryans. Nobody else can be called Aryans. But these Germans, the Nazis, they stole that title, that ethnic self-designation, and they said that the white people are the Aryans. And they said that the Jews and the Romanis, etc., are un-Aryans or non-Aryans, which is nonsense, because Romanis should be the real Aryans, right? In Europe, because they are of Indian origin. Anyhow, they demonized these people, and eventually, what happened was genocide. They ended up killing about 4 million or so Jews and at least 1 million Romanis, Indian origin gypsies, in various ways, in concentration camps. Uh, Treblinka, Sobibor, Auschwitz, and so many other horrific places, which still exist today, I suppose. Yeah, very morbid places for tourism. So that's what happened. It was tragic, terrible, especially the treatment of Jews and Gypsies. So yeah, that in short is what happened. And what were the concentration camps like? Well, the worst place you can imagine, and multiply that by 100. Yeah, it's where people went to die. The people were taken to die by typically by railroad. They used to pack these people into railway compartments and send them by train to places like Auschwitz and Sobibor, etc. Then the Jews would be taken there, and the ones who had specialized skills would be used as slave labor. The others would be just gassed to death. Terrible, terrible business. So yes, that's what happened. A very horrific chapter of history, and well, yeah. So that's your answer, sir, in brief.